Wednesday, October 18th, and this is Geeknights. Tonight we discuss the brand new Death Note anime. Let's do this.
You know, we haven't really plugged it much yet, but we are going to be guests at UberCon this weekend.
Yeah, well, we'll see exactly what the state of that is.
Well, I am a guest at UberCon this weekend. I don't know about Scott.
Yeah, UberCon seems to have a little problem in their, I don't know what you call it.
Well, the thing is, they didn't really respond very much to emails.
We need to work on our communication.
Plus, UberCon wasn't really a high priority from my end because we're only doing one panel there.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I'm going to this con mostly for the stuff that a con goer goes for, and not so much of the, con guest action is going on. Yeah,
well, there's some guests I really want to meet, and hopefully I'll be able to interview them. Though that means dragging all the equipment out there, but we'll do it.
I definitely feeling like at CityCon, there weren't so many con goers there, but I did have a whole blast, doing networking and stuff with all the other guests. So I'm definitely feeling a strong bit of that at UberCon. Like I'll spend a lot of time chilling with other guests, meeting people, talking it up, letting them in about the show and all that good stuff. But also I'm going to play some games. Because I need to play some new games.
Yeah, some games. We'll see how much gaming we actually get to do.
I know. I really want to play some games, man. But I'll try to play at least 2. That's my goal. If I play 2 games, it's a good con.
Yep, but we'll be at UberCon. It will not be difficult to find us. The people
UberCon is small.
Well, it's bigger than CityCon, and the people who went to CityCon to see us...
I mean, in numbers of people, yes, it's bigger than CityCon. However, in space, it takes up. It's just 2 hallways of one hotel room, so...
Our panel apparently is either going to be in the pool or in a suite upstairs somewhere.
Who knows? I'm not really too interested in the panel, because they threw all these other people on it, and who knows who they are. We're going to have to find out.
Yeah, great.
Maybe they'll cramp our style.
If you don't want to be in the panel, I'll do the panel. And
I'll be on the panel. I'm just saying I don't know how it's going to go, because there might be people cramping our style.
There were people with us at CityCon, too.
That was a different kind of panel.
Okay.
Anyway. So UberCon, New Jersey, this Saturday. We're not going to go on Friday and Sunday just because we can't. Screw it. It's not worth it. So all day Saturday, New Jersey, come see us. And play games.
Yep, and Scott apparently doesn't like the other guests, so...
I don't even know the other guests. I didn't say I didn't like them.
You're just like, these other guests, they're going to cramp our style.
They're guys I don't know, so it's, it's a gaming con. Odds are at a gaming con, it's someone who will cramp the style. Even though this is a distinct possibility, they could be cool, awesome dudes.
See, I'm
not ruling it out.
I don't see why they would be more likely to cramp our style at a gaming con than an anime con.
Come on. What kind of people go to gaming cons? So, the latest Studio Ghibli movie is that one that's directed by Miyazaki's son, Goro, what's his face? Goro Miyazaki, right. Yeah, same last name, he's his son. Should have figured that out.
Not so good a director, though, apparently.
Well, who knows about that? I haven't seen the movie, so I can't...
I have not heard a single person say much good about it.
Anyway, it's based on this series of books called The Tales of Earthsea, which are written by Ursula K. Le Guin. And I've read them, and I read a lot of her books, and they're really awesome. Like, almost Lord of the Rings awesome. If you haven't read the Earthsea books, I highly recommend you read at least the first 3. The 4th one's still good, and I think there's another one that I haven't read that I've got somewhere.
They're not boring like most of the middle of the Lord of the Rings, are they?
No, they're not, and Lord of the Rings isn't boring.
I got to admit that much of the second book was tedious and boring, and I ended up skipping a big portion of it.
Well, you suck, but Earthsea is not boring at all, and it's super awesome.
Okay.
Anyway, there was a SciFi Channel miniseries based on Earthsea that really sucked. Really, really sucked. That came out like in 2004-ish. And Sci-Fi Channel still has some rights to Earthsea in some way. And they're not going to expire until 2009. As a result, if Sci-Fi Channel continues to be an ass, or decides to be an ass, who knows if they've decided yet, the new Ghibli movie, Gedo Senki, might not come out in the U.S. legally until 2009.
It's sad to say it, but that doesn't affect me at all.
It doesn't affect me either. And it's just sort of annoying, like, hey, this company, made a live-action TV show based on a book, and even though the person with the book, who wrote the book, thinks differently, And even though, like, Disney is probably going to bring this thing over, and they're huge, because some guy made a short live-action miniseries of, like, 4 episodes, this blockbuster movie can't be imported from elsewhere.
So what exactly is the situation? I mean, does SciFi have the rights to U.S. release of a work based on that because the movie was made in Japan? I mean, what's the deal here?
It doesn't exactly say the details because this is a part of an interview in the New York Times about,
okay,
the
so
movie.
You don't actually know.
All it says is that it's in the New York Times, so it's real. And
I'm not doubting that it's real.
And Ursula K. Le Guin said in the New York Times, Mr. Miyazaki's movie won't be shown as long as the Sci-Fi Channel people sit on their rights, which they have until 2009, unless they decide to stop being a dog in the manger, she tells the New York Times.
Well, see, this is a case kind of like what's happened to a con we talked about a while back, that somebody screwed up, and most likely either Ursula K. Le Guin or the estate gave up the rights for the U.S. release of a TV work or something, or a movie or some sort of derivative, and they gave it away in such a way that prevents other works from coming out, meaning they fucked up, and now they're stuck with this.
I do remember, I'm not 100% sure, this is just what I remember, of when they talked to her when the TV series came out, how she thought it sucked, and when they came to her, telling her that they had this idea, they wanted to do it, and they told her that she would be really involved and they would seek her input, and then they never sought her input, and they just came out with it without her saying anything about it, and she really didn't like it. So I have a feeling she must have screwed up something back then. Who knows what?
Seems to happen fairly often.
Yeah, it's because not everyone's a lawyer, and this kind of shit can happen to people.
Well, what you got to do is either hire a lawyer or learn about that stuff, or at least read a contract before you sign it.
Yeah, who knows? Plus, a lot of times, you'll write something, and then, like, some publisher will have the rights, and they'll do stuff with it. And then
no, that's only if you signed away the rights.
Yeah, who knows? It's all crazy.
See, a lot of young artists and young writers screw up by if they'll get a publishing deal offer from some company, and in return, they have to sign away pretty much all their rights, and then the company just takes it and does whatever they want with it.
Yeah. I noticed this stuff a lot, actually, lately with comic book publishers. You'll see stuff like, Marvel Comics, and then they'll have a separate imprint that's like Epic, and that is a Marvel comic where the creator still owns the rights of the characters. If you write a Marvel comic and you make new characters, Marvel owns them. But if you write an Epic comic, which is still published by Marvel, they don't own it. And they have all, every different publisher also has, a different way of compensating and paying, the creators that make comics for the publisher.
See, I just think the idea of a publisher having any copyright interest in a work is really kind of outmoded and old school.
I agree completely. What can I say?
Yeah.
It's all stupid.
Though, speaking of anime and anime-related news, it being Anime Day here on Geeknights, this poll, there was a poll on Anime News Network a little while ago about, who's your favorite director? And it went on for a while. It ended, I think, sometime last week or early this week. I don't remember exactly when it ended. But if you might recall, at conventions, we were going around asking people if they could name any director of an anime other than Hayao Miyazaki.
Yep. Oh, you can't say, who's the other one you can't say? I forget. There was another one that was too easy that we didn't let people
I can think of a bunch that are too easy.
Yeah, anyway, go on.
But that's because I'm an anime fan.
Yeah, go on.
So this survey, they asked people on the internet, who was your favorite director?
Wait, why don't we answer this first? You pick.
My favorite director, sadly and scarily, is Ikuhara.
Ooh.
But then again, that's just because Uten is my favorite show. I actually really like Oshi.
If I had to pick right now, like, there's a lot of them, I'd have to say Satoshi Kon, Mr. Paranoia Agent, Tokyo Godfathers, Millennium Actress,
Perfect Blue. You know what? Funny, because everyone except Ikuhara that we just mentioned is on the list here, near the top.
Ikuhara's not on the list?
He's not anywhere near the top of the list.
Good. He doesn't belong near the top of the list. He's a freak.
Well, number one, of course,
Miyazaki.
Far and away, Miyazaki.
All right.
Number two, I don't know.
Good God. Wait, what are the percentages and numbers on those?
Oh, Miyazaki was like 20-something%, and I don't know was right under that with a lot, and everyone else was single digits.
Oh, wow. Where'd Satoshi Kon come in?
Satoshi Kon came in 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. Number 4.
4's not so bad.
The list was Miyazaki, I don't know, Watanabe, Satoshi Kon.
Watanabe is the Samurai Champloo Cowboy
Yes.
Bebop guy, so
Yes.
I can see where that comes from. They're allowed to vote
But
for
then
him.
Satoshi Kon, Anno, and then someone who is not on the list, and then Oshi, and the rest I didn't care about because it's the bottom of the list. Whatever.
I think
I get Miyazaki's really the only director that is commonly known by anime fans. I mean, he's really good. His stuff is great. But I think that part of this, because this survey was done in America, is
Mhm.
simply that most anime fans in America have no idea who directs anything. But whenever a Miyazaki film comes out, it's always Hayao Miyazaki's woman something cool.
Well, I think, it kind of reminds me again of comics, how when I was a kid in the 90s reading comics, I didn't pay attention to who the hell created the comics. I would watch cartoons on TV. I didn't know who the hell created the cartoons. I didn't, Miyamoto made all the video games of my childhood. I didn't know his name. And
Really? I actually looked at the credits of my Nintendo games, and I remember seeing
I
all
looked
these...
at him, but I didn't, none of the names really stuck in my mind.
See,
it was
I-
basically a bunch of Japanese guys.
I noticed that a few names... I knew who Yumatsu was, the guy who made the music. for Final-
Nobuo Uematsu.
Yeah, I knew about him pretty much right away.
Yeah.
In fact, I imported a CD long before there were MP3s.
But it seems that lately, not only am I paying more attention to who creates the works of entertainment and art that I consume, but it seems like they're becoming more prominent. Like, they're trying to push it more, especially with things like video games. Used to be the only person who made video games that you knew about was John Carmack and Sid Meier. Now, all of a sudden, you're seeing a lot more...
Romero.
Romero. He doesn't count. He's a woman. Anyway.
A very pretty woman.
Very. They're pushing a lot, a lot more game developers are coming out to the forefront. A lot more comic creators
You want to know why?
are trying to get their names out there besides just Stan Lee and Jack Cubby.
I think it's pretty obvious why, and it's a very good move. Because anyone who wants their name out there is like this is usually someone who's good, and they're trying to stand out from the pack of rubbish.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people hear Hayao Miyazaki and movie about the environment, and everyone just goes, "Oh, it's Miyazaki! Oh my god!"
I got it. At the next con we go to, we're gonna go to the Naruto fans.
If they were like,
no, and we're gonna ask them, can you name anyone who worked on the creation of Naruto, the director, a character designer, anything? And we're gonna see if they know who makes the Naruto that they enjoy so much. Because I really don't think they do.
I don't think they care.
I don't think they care either.
Because the thing is, if you're really new to a fandom, it's not useful to you right away to know who directs stuff, and you won't even care at all. But once you've seen a bunch of stuff and you think, hey, I really like that Paranoia Agent. It was really cool, and I really like that Perfect Blue. And hey, wait a minute. The same guy did both of those. Oh, he also did this thing called Tokyo Godfathers. Maybe I should watch that.
Maybe you should, because it's freaking awesome.
It is. I really liked it. It's
All
not my favorite of his works. My favorite is still Perfect Blue.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Paranoia Agent's pretty damn
Paranoia
awesome.
Agent's really good, but I really like Perfect Blue. Speaking of which, we should talk about Perfect Blue on the show.
I had to watch it again. It's been many years.
I'll put it in the Netflix because I really like that movie a
With
lot.
the freaky ending.
I remember our friend Lara wouldn't walk home alone from Anime Club after we showed it.
It was funny how the first movie he made was kind of scary, but a lot of the other ones he made were lighthearted or just semi-weird. Anyway.
Well, it was scary in that Hitchcock thriller kind of way, not in the oh my god boo way.
Yeah. I really don't like the oh my god boo because I don't think of that as frightening. I think that more of a surprise.
Oh yeah, though granted, some movies do that very well.
Some movies do that very well.
Things of the day.
We got hot things of the day today.
Yeah, we
These are probably
do.
the hottest things of the day for weeks.
I had a serious thing of the day that would spark actual discussion, but then
Whatever.
But then I saw my thing of the day, and the thing is, really, I just got to get this out. I got two things of the day today because Scott, but he called dibs, so I can't reveal it. But I totally found the thing of the day and showed it to him.
Well, I totally just found the thing of the day that you're using 10 minutes ago and showed it to you. So
Yeah.
we're going to trade here because I got dibs, therefore.
Yeah, even though I think that the thing of the day I found is far superior.
Of course my thing of the day is far superior to your thing of the day.
All right, so
That's
anyway,
obvious.
Scott's thing of the day
Yeah, right.
is, now this is actually really good. You know that old thing where Howard Stern fans will call into something, and then as soon as they get live on the air, they say Baba Booey, Baba Booey.
Well, usually what they do is they make a normal prank call, and then they say Baba Booey at the end, so you know that it was a Howard Stern prank caller.
Yeah. But what this is a whole bunch of videos of people. Actually, one of the videos of this guy who's kind of famous for calling into C-SPAN all the time with prank jokes. But it's people calling into C-SPAN, getting on the air, and then saying funny things.
I love the first one because the guy just calls in. He's like, hello, am I on the air? Yes. Fuck.
Yeah, or what was the guy? Ballsack Teabagger?
Hello, I am Ballsack Teabagger
Now
from Pakistan.
That is my favorite one in the sense that you see the guy on the air, the guy who's actually moderating all this, and he right away figures out that it's a prank call from the name. You can see it in his eyes. He's sitting there thinking, what do I do? But then the guy starts talking normally, but he's got his finger sitting on the cutoff button.
And then he's like, Howard Stern's penis? Click.
The thing is, C-SPAN gets pranked a lot. I don't know if you all realize that, but I'd say a significant percentage of the people who call into C-SPAN are people who want to say the word penis.
I have a feeling that it is also a lot of people who want to say the word fuck. I mean, if you have a TV network that's on all the time with barely anyone watching it, I mean, relatively speaking, how many people watch C-SPAN, especially at the hours when they have, free call-ins where they let anyone call in. So odds are, if you call into the show, you're going to get on the air. So I think a lot of people, the kind of people who are up at those hours watching C-SPAN are either people who are really into C-SPAN, like maybe a congressman. No, who's kidding? They're watching some freaking porno or something. They're people who want to make a prank call. So if you watch C-SPAN, odds are you're going to see prank calls at least once a week.
I'm surprised that the only thing you can think of that a congressman would be doing is watching pornography.
Well, if you look at what this news about congressmen lately, I think that's what they're doing.
So because one guy was
I think there's 3 guys. There was like 2 other stories recently.
Nah.
Yeah, anyway.
Okay. So now Scott can give you my thing of the day.
Yes, well, was the bomb? Okay. Everyone knows about the old Batman live-action show
Probably
with Adam West.
The best Batman movie ever made.
Oh, it's actually from the movie? Or is it from just the TV show?
It's from the movie.
Is it? Okay.
Remember, it starts with the shark repellent?
Yeah, I know the shark repellents in the movie.
Spoilers, and then they turn all the diplomats into powder.
Yep.
And there's a bomb at one point.
Yep, okay.
We watched it out of the New Year's party.
I know, I don't remember all of it. But I remember the shark repellent. Anyway, the old Batman TV show with Adam West had a movie, and the movie was so hilarious. Oh, my God. And there was a scene in this movie in which Batman is holding a giant bomb, a bowling ball candle bomb, a Boris Badenov bomb, a big black thing with a fuse coming out.
A kaboom bomb.
Yes. And he was running down a boardwalk holding this bomb, and he's running in a hilarious fashion.
And he's holding it over his head. He's panicked. He's looking for somewhere to get rid of it. Like he'll go to.
He could have just thrown it off the boardwalk into the ocean.
He tries. He turns and goes to throw it off the boardwalk, and there's like someone down there. He tries to throw it somewhere else. There's a bunch of nuns. No matter what he does, he can't get rid of this bomb.
Yeah. But anyway, so many people on the internet have passed around the funny animated gif of Batman running with a bomb, which is, hilarious whenever there's a thread on Fark about terrorism or Batman.
Batman terrorism.
Yeah, anything like that.
Actually, the most recent one I saw was they replaced Batman's face with Muhammad.
So anyway, some guy got the idea to combine this with Mario Brothers 2, a.k.a. Doki Doki Panic. In Mario Brothers 2, some doors in the game can just be opened easily. You just go up to them and walk in. Some doors have a lock on them. And everyone knows to open a lock, you need a key. The keys were all located in, relatively secret places, usually in jars. You would go in the jar, and there would be a key there. There would also be these guys around the key, these faces, called Phantos.
Now, I would like to describe for you the first time I ever encountered a key in Super Mario Brothers 2, a.k.a. Doki Doki Panic USA.
Mm-hmm.
I go in, and I see this key, and I see these 3 masks, and I think, I wonder what those masks are. I immediately stop caring because there's the key, the object of my affection and desire. I jump down. I'm probably the princess, maybe Toad. I pick it up, and one of the masks starts rumbling. Now, at this point, I defecate. The mask flies off the screen. I think, all right, I wonder what that was all about. And then it comes back, and it's trying to get me. And I run out of the pipe, and it's still trying to get me. And no matter where I go, it's always there. But if I drop the key, it goes away.
But if you pick up the key again...
Beeline for your face.
Yep. So it was really crazy in Mario 2. Whenever you got a key, it was some of the best parts of the game because you got that key and then you fucking ran. Holy shit, did you run for that key door? Because that Phantos is going to come and freaking kick your ass. God damn. I can't tell you, when I was like a little kid playing that game, I was scared to shit of Phantos. Like, I would be like, okay, ready? Grab. Go, 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 go.
Yep.
And I would run real quick.
I remember the one where it's early on. Like, I think it's one of the first times where you got to dig all the way down in the sand. There's a key at the bottom.
Yep.
You're digging down. You're like, I'll bet there's something down here. Maybe a boss. You see that key and you think, oh, fuck.
You're at the bottom of this giant, giant sand pit, and the only place to go is up. And if you didn't pick Luigi, you're going to have a hard time jumping out of there with any speed at all.
Luigi, you want to be Toad in that situation.
Toad is good because he digs down real quickly, but at the same time, Luigi can jump real high and get out of there quickly.
Luigi jumps real slow. You'll get up faster if you're anyone else.
You got to. But if you use Luigi, he jumps so high that you can jump higher with the same amount of time.
No, because
you just don't do a full Luigi jump where he hangs in the air all stupidly.
Because he jumps so slowly, it's not worth it. Plus, he goes up like.
Anyway,
you don't want to be Luigi unless you're doing a speed run.
Anyway, the point is
the point anyway is
my thing of the day is a YTMND in which they show the picture of, you know, the animated GIF of Batman running with the bomb. They replace the bomb with a key, and he's being chased by a Phantos.
Hot damn! When I saw this on 4chan a week ago, did I not laugh my ass off?
I was also laughing the hysterical, and I'm still laughing the hysterical.
I yelled to Scott, you got to see this. This is one of the funniest animated GIFs I've ever seen. And he's all skeptical. And then he sees it, and
it's so awesome. If you know about Batman and you know about Mario 2, it's hilarious.
I'm just trying to think of a way to integrate Scroats into all this.
Batman's got Scroats in his utility belt.
Yeah, or maybe he's running away from
Along
Scroats.
with his other Pokeballs and Digimons and whatever else he's got in there.
So anyway, being Anime Day today, we would like to do a preview of a show that I'm sure everyone who is an anime fan has been watching. The second episode came out recently. The Death Note anime.
Death Note.
Not the live action, not the manga, but the anime.
Yes, there's a Death Note anime. It just started. It's all right, I think.
Yeah, well, it's directed by Tetsuro Araki, which you might remember from practically nothing. He did some storyboards and unit direction for Galaxy Angel, and he did some unit direction for DigiCarrot.
And he directed Otoki Jushi Akazukin, which is a newish OAV that's kind of lame, at least to us.
Well, the thing is, the guy doesn't seem to have a lot of experience.
No, definitely not the most experienced director.
So I gotta say, the Death Note anime has a fairly unique style. At least it's something that hasn't been used in high-budget shows before.
Yeah, I mean, I was really wondering when I knew there was going to be Death Note anime, how are they going to make this animated? Because the manga is a whole lot of just people talking.
Not even just that. Half the time, it's Light thinking to himself, well, if I do this, then he'll do this, so I'd better do this, but then he'll do this. So if I do this and this, then he'll do this, and then I'll do this. Oh, but what if blah?
Yeah, and I think they've handled it pretty well, actually. A lot of times where, Light usually would have been thinking to himself and there would have been nothing to animate, they've had him talking to Ryuk, which makes me very happy because
let's
Ryuk
back
is
up
awesome.
A little bit.
All right.
Because I know a lot of people haven't actually read the manga.
Oh.
Death Note is a very, very, very popular manga, incredibly freaking popular, about a Death Note. A high school student finds a notebook that was dropped by a Shinigami, a god of the dead, into the human world. He picks it up, and it says, if you write someone's name in this book, they'll die. You can choose how they die. All these other rules. And he thinks, whatever, and he takes it home, and he ends up trying it out as a joke. And it works. Now, a normal human being, if it was a typical anime or manga, the character would freak out or throw it away, or there'd be some sort of hijinks surrounding it. This kid sits there after he realizes what happens and doesn't say, oh my God, what have I done? He says, all right.
He says, oh yeah.
I'm going to become God of this world and mete out horrible justice unto the wicked.
Yeah, even though, he's the wicked who's just a crazy killer killing everybody.
Well, he starts out with good intentions. He basically starts killing anyone who's a criminal.
If you think that's good.
And at least it's understandable. He thinks he's doing good.
Yeah.
Then the police go after him, and he starts killing them. And then he starts killing people who so much as disrespect him. And it just goes on from there. But you might think, all right, this is just stupid fantasy. Well, there's a detective named L who is going after him. And I'm not going to ruin anything about how that plays out. But you'd think, how could someone possibly catch someone who can kill by writing names down in a book? And Al fucking chases him down, and it's totally realistic. That sounds stupid. It might sound stupid, but the way it plays out is perfectly legitimate and could really happen, aside from the whole Death Note part.
Yeah.
It's straight up how they go after people, and the logic is pretty flawless.
All right, if you think so.
I think so. I mean, look, the physical things that they do to try to catch light would have worked if that sort of thing existed.
I guess. I think a lot of it, what it is the Death Note has certain rules around it. Like, if they would have just said, yeah, you write someone's name in it and they die, that would have left you asking a lot of questions and going, oh, why does he just do this? Why doesn't he just do that? Et cetera, et cetera. And in the manga, they put a lot of the rules of how the Death Note works between the chapters, and it really fills in any sort of plot hole that you can think up.
Well, see, I
guess it
guess
also creates new plot elements because a lot of those rules, force people to do certain things or act in certain ways.
Well, it's realistic. It's in the sense that the show and the manga and everything they really, really let you suspend your disbelief easily because everything makes sense. Everything is consistent. How there's crap anime where, whenever they need something to happen, there's just a new plot device, or the robot had an extra gun, or, oh, well, magic doesn't actually work that way if you're on the island of blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
This show is just straight up 100% self-consistent from start to finish.
That is true. It's very self-consistent.
And it's one of the few...
And you'll never... It's going to be real hard for you to go, well, why doesn't he do that? Why doesn't he do that?
Well,
because they always have an answer.
You will. You'll think... Well, he could just do this, and then maybe a character tries to do that, and you find out why it didn't work, or it doesn't work. I think
what the difference is in other shows is you say, why didn't he do that, or and then something comes out of nowhere. In Death Note, you ask, why didn't he do that, and then you think back and you go, oh, that's why, because they already covered it, as opposed to then covering it up later.
Yep. I mean, it's a made-up story, obviously, but it plays out as in. Very, very realistically, the details that come out early matter later, and any detail is there for a reason, and everything happens very, very consistently. So, aside from the story, it was an incredibly popular manga that finished in Japan and is approaching completion in the U.S.
Yeah, but pretty slow. I think it's a little over half done in the U.S. I mean, I've got volume 7, I think, or maybe 8.
Yeah,
I think there's 12, right?
Well, 13.
13.
But supposedly the 13th volume is not actually story. It's just character stuff.
Well, who knows if they'll even come out with it then?
Yeah, I don't know how well that would do in the U.S. I could see people getting very angry, unless it came with 12.
It could.
As the final end piece or something.
We'll see what happens.
But the manga was really, really, really popular and really, really good. The live-action movie, no one I know has said anything good about it. Emily posted in the forums about the specific faults it had. I haven't seen it yet, but I really trust her opinion on this one.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the FMA movie either, but I'm getting the same vibes from people who have seen those. About both movies seem to get the same feeling going on, where it's based on a thing that we like, yet it's not really holding up in the movie theater.
Yeah, a quote she used that I think probably describes it very well was that for the mood of the Death Note live-action movie, she expected a thunderstorm and got a drizzle.
Oh, pun.
Yeah. But the anime, we wondered, how Scott talked earlier, how are they going to do this? Because the manga is very guy talking, guy thinking, and then suddenly an action scene, and then another, 1,000 pages.
Of course, the action
talking.
scenes are the best freaking parts.
Yeah. But you wondered, how could they make this interesting as an anime?
Yeah. And it turns out that they actually did a decent job. The thing is, I get this feeling that if I hadn't already read the manga, that it would have, I would feel it more when I watched the anime. But because I've read the manga, I'm not feeling it so much because I already know what's going down.
Well, instead, the feeling I get because I've read the manga is more of a, oh, here's when this happens. Oh,
Yup.
here's when this happens.
See, the thing is, if I didn't read the manga, I think I might be getting a, oh shit, look what happened, which would be more, exciting.
Yeah, I mean, the way this show plays out, think he kills people by writing names in a book. Now, that's exciting in the manga because it doesn't move. How do you animate a scene where he's writing names in a book and somehow make that interesting?
Well, you do a montage of people dying all over the place from heart attacks, where you show like a half-transparent picture of him writing names furiously in a book with some rockin' music.
Rockin' orchestral music, I might add.
Right, it fits, is what matters.
They managed to make a scene where a dude is writing in a notebook while laughing maniacally. One, not cliche or stupid or cheesy, and two, kind of awesome.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. I mean, in the manga, you actually see him do other stuff. Like you see him like watching TV, find a specific criminal, pick them out, talk about why he picked that guy, and that's not going to work in an anime at all.
No, it is pretty much as for the first 2 episodes at least, extremely faithful to the manga. It is a straight up port, basically.
Oh yeah, it is. I was questioning, at certain points they'd be like, oh, are they going to change something? Are they going to change something? But no, it's direct. It's exactly what's in the manga.
Yeah, the most they seem to be doing is leaving out really, really irrelevant details that you don't really need to know. Like, they show a couple specific people he killed because those specific people end up mattering later. Mm-hmm. But for all the generic people he killed, they didn't even bother with it.
Yeah. They took, basically, if you went through the manga and you picked out the key scenes, they put those in the anime, and all the stuff in between gets glossed over and covered in montages and other sorts of things like that.
Now, the one thing that they did differently, but they really had to do it differently, was, how do you set up the scenes? How do you portray Light's tone of voice? How do you do these things? How does he speak? What does he say? How does he say it? Because they're not going to follow the dialogue in the manga straight up. That wouldn't work at all.
No, I think they've actually changed it quite a bit. Like, they have him calling himself a god and being way crazier way earlier.
Yeah, but
I think that takes out his decline into being an insane villain.
Well, see, I don't know, because it's more real time, it seems that the impression I got in the manga was that he was always the insane villain, and he was just looking for an outlet.
Could be.
Because in the second episode, we're not really going to spoil anything, but a policeman is after him, and he's sitting here thinking, ha ha ha, you can't get me, I'm so cool, I'm so smart.
No, I'm so cool, I'm so smart.
And then the cop, he's like, haha, whatever, filthy human, I'll continue doing what I'm doing. And then the cop on the TV says, Kira is evil, what you are doing is evil. And then you see him twitch, and then he just freaks out and immediately writes the dude's name down.
Yep.
And it just shows that the kid really is unbalanced, and I think they do a good job of portraying that, though they might do it a little more quickly than the manga did.
Yeah, that's all I really said, is that, in the manga, you see a guy, it starts out where a lot of people get tricked into identifying with him a little bit, especially if, you're a pro-death penalty kind of person, you think that way. And then they slowly make him more and more evil, and it isn't until volume 2 or 3 that he's really like, whoa, dude, whoa, all right, chill out.
Yeah, well, the thing is, they gloss over, like in the manga, he starts killing pretty petty criminals pretty early. They just don't make a big deal about it. He just kind of mentioned, they mentioned like, but purse snatchers being killed, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, in the anime, they definitely, hammer it into you that this guy is writing down as many criminal names as possible all the time.
In fact, I would actually note that because in the anime, you hear his voice, as opposed to just seeing, because even early on in the manga, one of the things about this is that Light has this characteristic sneer. He has this light look on his face when he does something evil. And you get that in the manga pretty much from the start all the way through. But now, because you have him saying things with it, it might just be that it seems more evil because now we hear his voice.
It could be. The voice acting is definitely highlights the evil pretty well, I think.
Probably the best character in Death Note is not L, the awesome dude who's going after him, who is unique and stylized in a way that if you haven't read the manga, I'm not going to ruin. And then there's Light, but Ryuk. The
Ryuk
death
is my
god.
man.
Ryuk is
Pretty
a death
much,
god.
you can't, in Death Note, it's really hard to root for anyone full on. I mean, L is cool and the good guy, but he's a little off. You know?
I don't think he's a little off. I think he's adorable.
Like I said, he's a little off. So the only one I can really root for is Ryuk, who is the Shinigami god of death, because it's not evil if he kills people, and you don't even really see him killing people. I mean, it's his job. That would be like rooting against the Grim Reaper if you rooted against Ryuk.
Yep, I mean, the reason the Death Note's on the planet is that Ryuk, a death god, was basically bored and wanted to see what would happen.
Yeah, I mean, in the world of the Shinigami, where all the Shinigami hang out, all the Shinigami are losers, and they sit around gambling and doing nothing all day, when they should be killing people. So Ryuk says, "This sucks. Everyone here sucks. I'm leaving." And Ryuk is also an awesome Shinigami. He tricked the super god of death into giving him 2 death notes. So you know this guy's up to something. So he's the only guy I can root for. And in the show, they do a pretty good job of portraying him. I mean, he's got that nice, happy-looking smile, and he's acting just like he did in the manga. He's eating apples all the time. And
Yep, because one thing that Ryuk provided a lot was, in the manga, little bits of comic relief here and there that were really sparse but really, really funny.
I mean, this guy, if he doesn't eat an apple, will get turned upside down and inside out.
And twisty.
And twisty. It's pretty funny when that happens.
But
the one thing I think in the anime about Ryuk, though, I think his voice actor, while good, isn't really what I imagined.
See, actually, I think it's okay. The only voice that
It's okay. It's not bad.
I think it's great. The only voice that didn't really sit with me too well was Al. I think it sounded a little too deep and cool.
I think that because we didn't actually see much of L, because he only appeared for a little bit at the end of the second episode. I think in episode 3, when he's actually doing the tennis scene and stuff like that he's gonna talk like a normal guy. And
We'll
sound
see.
Better.
We'll see, because I know the manga gives you one impression of Al. Then when you meet him, you get an entirely different impression.
Yeah, I think that's what they're doing maybe in the animes, because we're still at the point of the first impression of L and not the second impression.
Now, there's one thing that the anime did that wasn't really in the manga. Well, really two. They're really minor, but I think these are the kinds of things that are going to make the anime stand out and make it sit a little bit above the rest in terms of manga that gets turned into anime. In that, when Ryuk first appears, he appears and Light's writing, and Light sees him, and Light freaks out. Oh my God! He just freaks out.
Yep.
And he falls to the floor, and then Ryuk's like, blah, blah, blah. And then Light gains his composure, and he tries with a straight face to say, I knew you'd come. And Ryuk has this look like, whatever, dude.
Yeah.
And then Ryuk is watching him, writing all these names in the Death Note, and he says something along the effect of, wow, you've been busy, and he pans down, and you see that he's written hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of names, and it's only been like a day or two.
Yeah, another thing is they can add a lot more, to certain scenes that the panels in the manga didn't really emphasize so well. Like when he writes this one guy's name down, he writes it real big and real quick, diagonally, because he's angry. And in the manga, they just kind of, they might have written it that way. I don't remember, but it's just like one panel with some action lines. And in an anime, you can feel it more when you're watching than when you're reading.
Now, one thing this anime does that is a little bit different from pretty much anything else out there right now is that it uses panels. It uses a lot of these kind of like the Initial D American release, the tricked out version, where they'll take a black bar and have one guy's face on one side and one guy's face on the other side, and they're panning in opposite directions, and then something else pans across.
Yeah, that happened a few times, but it wasn't out of control Gundam Seed style.
Well, that's the thing. This is probably the first time, other than the Hit Me Baby One More Time anime music video to Utena, where something like that was used well. At least well enough to where it didn't annoy me.
Yeah, it's like I remember back in my middle school days when the only way you could edit videos was 2 VCRs and this box that had a few effects built into it. And
Star Wipe.
Yeah.
Star Wipe.
Exactly. And basically any effect in that box was cheesy, so it was impossible to make a non-cheesy movie with that device. But, one of those things that you could do is stuff like that, where you can have, half of one tape on the top and half of one on the bottom and kind of move them around a little bit. And, when someone uses those old school effects well, it's, they're doing something right.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much the Hit Me Baby One More Time AMV and Death Note are some of the only things I've ever seen where that was either put to good use or at least not put to bad use.
Yeah, I think really the way to use that poorly is overuse. You know, if you keep doing it and doing it and doing it, then it's a problem.
Kind of like when Gundam Seed, anytime something happened, it would cut to every single character in the show who was still alive going,
Yep. And they would split the screen into 10 pieces with a different face in each piece, then split the screen into 10 pieces again, then do a full screen on the character who cares the most.
Who directed that?
I forget.
Because I thought, oh, if I didn't know, I would have thought, maybe the same guy.
No, it's not the same guy.
Yeah, no, it's totally not, because Araki hasn't done much.
Yep. Anyway, Death Note anime, so far, 2 episodes watched. Pretty good.
If you've read the manga, it's worth watching. If you haven't read the manga, it's worth watching.
Yeah, I really want to know what people who haven't read the manga and don't know anything about Death Note think about it, because I'm coming from, the position of already knowing almost everything that's going to happen. Yeah. I mean, if you go into a movie and you already know...
Well, no. You don't know everything that happens because you don't know how the second story...
I don't know everything, but I know most, and I'm pretty sure the manga might finish before I see the whole anime.
Yeah, I ended up reading the spoiler thread because
good job.
I figured Mr. Period wouldn't go in there and Scott wasn't going to go in there. And I'll say right now, in the manga of Death Note, the only thing that bothers me is that everything comes to a head about halfway through.
Yeah, like volume 7, 8.
And something crazy happens. And then after that, it's like the new characters that come in and the new stuff that happens just really didn't interest me at all.
Yeah, it's like there's a season 2, and like I've read up to like the beginning part, the few beginning chapters of season 2 of Death Note, and it really, while it seems good, it's better than a lot of other manga out there. It doesn't really compare to the first part of the manga that was so awesome. So it feels not good.
Now, I have my thoughts as to how Death Note should have ended, or at least how the second season should have progressed. And I have a thought to the point that if I could get someone to help me draw it, I would be all about doing the dreaded
fan fiction.
The dreaded fan fiction.
Uh-oh.
The dreaded Yeah, that is how bad, not bad, but how disappointing the second half of Death Note was, to that it will drive a man like me to fan fiction.
Oh, God.
I think it could have ended better. Of course, I haven't read the end. I just read the spoiler.
Yeah.
But two, I read a bunch
The execution of that could be much different than you think.
But regardless of that, I read a bunch of, after the event happens on Scanslations before I stopped. And pretty much from that moment on, the manga was kind of and I didn't like any of the new characters.
Yeah, I do have to read a few more chapters of, the season 2 before I think I can, get a full opinion on it. But I have read maybe 3 or 4 of those chapters.
I don't think anyone who's read the manga disagrees that the second, after the first story arc, it really kind of
stalls. It's not
stalls.
as good, so
it stalls.
It feels worse than it is, I think, because it's not as good. It's like if you make the most amazing manga in the world, like a 10-star manga, and then halfway through it becomes a 9-star manga, that 9-star part is going to feel like a 5-star because they're used to 10-star. Yeah. I'm not saying the second half is 9-star because I don't think it is. I think it's more like 7 or 6, but it feels like 5 or 4 because the first part is like 9.
But enough people were talking smack about it that I felt the need to spoil it for myself.
I think the other reason that they don't like the second half is because the characters in the first half are a lot better. There's only one annoying character, which is Misa Misa. And then, characters get subtracted and then added in the second half. And the characters they add, no one likes them. They suck. They're not interesting. No one can identify with them. No one cares.
Yeah.
And that's, people, if you look at what makes an anime popular, it's having characters that people like. I mean, look at Full Metal Alchemist. Most of what that anime's got going for is characters people like.
It's almost like...
Same thing with Naruto.
It's almost like the Full Metal Alchemist people designed a host of characters that together would have enough popularity to make a blockbuster.
I mean, it's like why harem shows are so successful is because they have one girl for every possible taste in women that a middle school kid can have and that an old perverted guy can have. So that no matter who's watching the show, there's going to be a character that they really like.
Hey, they're harem shows for girls. Remember Mein Liebe?
Which they have one guy character for every possible...
Hello, I am the naughty German boy. Hello, I am the cute German boy. Hello, I am the normal, awesome German boy. I am the bearded German boy.
Exactly. So no matter what your taste is, there's a character that you can get with. In Death Note, not the case, especially the second half. But anyway, Ryuk is the man, and he is there throughout.
Yep. Ryuk
It's
is
really hard to get rid of a god of death.
And Ryuk and Misa Misa are really the only comedy in this whole thing. It's a really dark manga. It's a really dark show.
Yeah. I guess that's why I like the lighter parts better.
The lighter part.
Because Ryuk's there.
That was terrible.
Pun.
That was really fucking bad.
Okay. So, yeah, Death Note. Cool.
Yeah, we were also going to talk about Pumpkin Scissors tonight, but we decided not to, mostly because I'd like to spend more than 5 minutes talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty much saying before the show, should we talk about both of these shows or just one? And we said, okay, we'll talk about Death Note and see how long we talk. And if we don't talk long, we'll start talking about Pumpkin Scissors. And guess what? We talked long.
Yep, because a lot of you have been asking us what we think of Pumpkin Scissors, and we haven't watched it yet until just now.
I think what we'll do is we'll watch the second episode tomorrow.
Yeah, I think
sometime.
next week we're probably going to do 2 previews of 2 shows that don't deserve quite as much talk as the Death Note show did.
Yeah. I think that the Death Note show, I don't know if it's a good enough show to really deserve the whole episode, but because it's based on such a great manga, you gotta give it up.
Yeah, plus people have been clamoring for that too.
Yep. So, clamor no more.
Yeah. And I will say about Pumpkin Scissors, I'm probably not going to watch more of it.
No, I'm definitely not going to watch more Pumpkin Scissors, despite its funny name and awesome logo.
I think Anime World Order is right about their whole Gonzo hypothesis, but we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, I used to think differently, but yeah.
Well, there is one possible exception, but I have to see the end of the show to find out.
All right. Anyway, enough of that. Next week.
And that was Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for our opening theme.
Be sure to visit our website at www.frontrowcrew.com. If you like our podcasts, you'll love our forums. Make sure you visit them. You can send your email feedback to geeknights@gmail.com. And if you want, you can leave us a voicemail at 206-333-1537.
Geeknights airs every weeknight, Monday through Thursday.
Geeknights is recorded with absolutely no studio and no audience. But unlike those other talk shows, it's actually recorded at night.